60 Minutes with Angela starts right now.
In 2015, something unprecedented happened in Nigeria's presidential election. For the first time, an incumbent president was defeated, and no less by a newly formed party, by the merger of 4 existing parties in the political space in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. After that election, Muhammadu Buhari, a retired Major General of the Nigerian Army, emerged as president of the Federal Republic. And so it's been 2 years of the administration of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. How has the APC fared so far, 2 years on? And that's where my host today comes in. John ODIGIE Oyegun is the current national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC. He has been chairman since the 13th of June, 2014. He's a former governor of Edo State, one of the states in Nigeria's south-south geopolitical zone that was between January 1992 and November 1993. He joins me now on the program to give an assessment of the APC government in the last 2 years. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for coming on the program with me today.
The pleasure is mine.
The story of the All Progressives Congress has always been told. We all know 4 parties came together to form that APC, but generally speaking, a lot of people think that in coming together, there was one aim: to take over power. But what the APC was going to do with that power once it got there was still a question left unanswered. Are you happy so far with the performance of the party?
Well, very happy. I think you are narrowing it a bit when you say it came into existence just to take over. I don't think it was quite as simple as that. I think more it was a situation where the state of the nation had become bothersome, worrisome. The state of the nation and the direction, the trajectory in which we were traveling had become so predictable. We saw a nation that was headed for the rocks. That is why it was possible, conceivable, and that is why the great historic sacrifice was made by 4 parties, 3 really and a fraction of a fourth, to give up what they already had. Each of these parties already had part of the political terrain under it.
Yes.
But they were ready to give that all up in one historic gamble to save the nation from the direction in which it was traveling. So it wasn't quite, it was a little bit deeper and a little bit more important. As a result, of course, the ACN of the power bloc of the Southwest, the ANPP, mainly in the North, and the CPC, which had one state in the North, and of course also had the major contributory factor of, at that stage, a possible presidential candidate who in the previous election had already basically on nothing scored 12 million votes. So for these groups to come together, give up everything, because they all went, held convention, dissolved themselves to now register as individuals, not as parties. So it was a truly historic happening. And it goes to underscore the depth of the feeling about the nation, the sacrifices they were ready to make, these various parties, in the interest of the nation. From that point of view, I'll say yes. So far, the journey has been very good. It was a very difficult thing to achieve. Welding these different groups, different philosophies, different interests together for the sake of the Nigerian nation. And so far, I think 2 years, we have a lot to celebrate. There's a lot of angst in the country. There's a lot of hardship in the country. But I really just ask people to just imagine what it might have been like if there was no
And you've raised two questions there for me. First of all, do you think that the four souls that came together to form the APC have been able to subsume their personalities and adapt and merge into one?
I think largely that has happened, largely. But there's no hiding the fact that, of course, here and there, mainly at the upper level, the real leaders of these groups and these parties, there's still also the jostling for who is who.
Yes.
There's still the jostling for the position as to who contributed more to the victory.
Yes.
There's still the argument about whether we've got enough to compensate us for the sacrifices that we made, and that of course will go on.
Yeah.
Even if we didn't come together, that is a normal attribute of politics, that interests collide. And of course, once they collide, there must be some argumentation, some what people will call crisis, and the rest of it. By the way, to be fair and to get a total picture, we have a fifth group that came in, and that is the new PDP that joined the party with 5 whole governors. That was a significant injection into the new party, and I think they did a lot to help it to victory. Yes, these interests are still there, but largely underneath that surface of these great big leaders, the rank and file of the party today see themselves as one.
Will this rank and file be retained as you head into election year in 2019?
I don't see why not. Again, I say in spite of the hardships in the land, people are beginning to understand why. People are no longer saying that we caused it.
Yes.
They say, of course, that we are supposed to solve it. And we are trying to tell them, please, yes, we are supposed to accept.
Yes.
But some of these things take time. Unfortunately, it's not like a switch that you flick.
Yes.
And hey, presto, all is well. We had a shattered economy, battered economy. And like I had caused to explain at another event of this nature, we were prepared for that, for an economy that was no longer functioning, virtually destroyed, supine and the rest of it, no longer responsive.
Were you all shocked at what you met?
But what we met was another story totally. And when you add to that, of course, the collapse of the crude oil market, it meant a total rethinking, a total retooling, a totally new set of realities, new set of problems, which we now had to hurry, so to speak. It became a kind of emergency within the party. Of course, you don't need to declare a state of emergency for you to know that this is serious. And the party settled down to tackle these serious issues, these serious problems, and restart virtually the economy, rebuild the economy. That process is still going on.
Supporters of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, say that it's 2 years since he left office, and it's a little unfair to continue to blame him and his administration on the circumstances that exist today, the situation where we find ourselves. When will the APC move away from that?
We have long moved away from it. We were prepared for a shattered economy, but there were other new factors like I just mentioned. And we don't play the blame game anymore, but it is always important because out there are people who still, as I today can say, oh, 2 years ago things were not like this, that was not like that, that was not like that. In fact, I don't think we do enough of it. to communicate, to let the people know the base from which we are taking off. Whether they blame the PDP, whether they blame Jonathan or not is another matter.
Yes.
But of course, the kind of stories that are coming out, the kind of disclosures that are coming out from the various discoveries and the rest of it, that in fact they were just running an ATM government all the time from beginning, are beginning to sink in. And people are beginning to internalize and realize that, yes, okay, we accept things were bad.
Yes.
But please fix it quickly, help us fix it quickly. We are responding to that.
I want to refer you to the memo written by the Kaduna State Governor in September 2016, where he said, and I'm quoting him now, the APC has failed to deliver even mundane matters of governance outside the success of fighting Boko Haram insurgency and corruption. Overall, the feeling, even among our supporters today, is that the APC government is not doing well. That was in September 2016. In another 4 months, it will be September. You think those opinions he expressed still stand today?
Well, they are personal to him. They came from a good friend of the government, my supposition wasn't in him.
Yes.
When he put those words together, was that he wanted to shock the system into moving a little bit faster. And I think that is what a very good friend who intends well for you. The memo was in any case intended to be private to Mr. President, and it became public property. So I think that is the perspective from which I look at it. Yes, we cannot pretend that since we came in, it's been hunky-dory, everything has been fantastic, everything has gone fine. It can always be better. And that precisely is what I think he is saying. I will leave that at
for
that
now.
point. Yeah.
And the foot soldiers of the party still feel neglected. There's still a lot of appointments to be made by this administration. Foot soldiers are hoping to be appointed into these places. We're now seeing that at least those who the president inherited from the past administration, they are changing some of these agencies. How soon will we see these appointments made?
I think basically things were ready. The appointments things have been worked out, who will go where and the rest of it. But things have not been helped by the current situation with the health of Mr. President. As soon as he's back, I think all that will become a thing of the past. Yes, it has been quite a prickly point with our members, because they worked hard, and for 2 years have not seen the rewards of their hard work, but I think that will be a thing of the past in the next few weeks. Yeah.
And where does the APC stand on the matter of publicizing the details of the president's health? I recall in 2009, the ACN then, National Secretary, Lai Mohammed, who is the Minister for Information today, saying the health of the president as a public figure can no longer be of interest only to his family and friends. That was about the late President Yaradua. Does the APC think the president is a private citizen entitled to privacy, or as a public officer, are we entitled to know the details of his illness?
Well, I don't know about entitlement, but when you are ill, it becomes quite a personal thing. You are the one feeling the pain. It's a disappointment that you are not there on seat to do what the people voted you to be doing. You are not engaged. It's a decision that only the president can make, the degree to which he wants to let the public into his state of health. So I think it's something we live to. It's not something that you consider as party policy. It's not part of the APC constitution, that if the chairman is ill, he must tell everybody what ailment is preoccupying him. So it's a matter of personal choice, and we have to respect the way the president has decided to handle the matter.
And you've talked about how, it's the president feeling the pain, he's not on seat. Is there any minus to him not being around? A lot of people do not understand that a president and vice president are elected on one ticket. It is one unit. When one goes away, it doesn't stop governance from happening. Do you think there's any difference in what we're getting now with the acting president and what would have been getting if the president was here?
I will borrow from what you just said.
Yes.
Because they were elected on the same ticket. And the Constitution provided for the office of Vice President precisely for this kind of eventuality,
Yes.
this kind of contingency. So the president is gone, and again, something historic. He didn't go away with the presidency. He has handed over full authority to the man who was elected with him.
You think Nigerians are shocked at that transmitting?
It's a bit of an un-Nigerian habit,
Yes.
just like it's un-Nigerian for a government, sitting government, to be defeated.
Yes.
But these things are beginning to happen, and I think they are pointing to the right direction for our democracy. They are all helping to deepen Nigerian democracy, that a government institute can be removed.
Yes.
That anybody, any one of us, can be ill at any time. I have 2 deputies, and any of them can hold the fort on my behalf.
Yes.
So it's habit that is being learned. If you also take extraneous, let me drag it in,
Yes.
the issue of corruption. Before we came into office, it had become part of, almost an acceptable part of the Nigerian scene. You go out and you don't come back successful, not minding how. That was something wrong. But Nigerians today are now accepting, in fact have accepted, that this is wrong and cannot be tolerated. And when you see the way they react today
Yes.
to these disclosures, you know that we have scored one major victory. So things are changing.
Yes.
What the APC came into office for is maybe imperceptible, but gradually, inexorably, very surely, is beginning to sink into people's consciousness.
Yes.
And the nation is changing. We are not there yet, but we are very much on the way.
On the anti-corruption war, because that was one of the 3-point agenda the president campaigned on, what is your response to those who think that it is a bit one-sided and only members of the opposition are being targeted by the war?
We know that is not so. Of course, the opposition have to say that. None of the parties that formed the APC was anywhere near the federal system up till this point. It's the very first time. Who was there? 16 years.
Yes.
So if you are going to probe the system, who was there to probe? If you run into all this, it's not as if they were massive probes.
Yes.
But you run into these things, inevitably. They are staring you in the eyes, the kind of arrogant, massive corruption that took place. So who was there? What is important? As you can see, people are every day joining the APC, significant people. And the one thing we tell them, please don't come because you think
It will stop
the
your
APC will shield
investigation.
you. It will not shield you. And you can see today, a lot of those who are being probed or who are already in court
Yes.
are members of the APC who were, of course, PDP. So the thing is there for everybody to see. But
I'm
of
surprised
course,
that you know that people defect to the APC because they hope it will shield them from prosecution.
No, they don't do that because they know it will not shield them from prosecution. They do so because they are projecting their political future. Let's face it. The only act in town today politically is the APC.
Yes.
I'm not saying that is why they do it. A few, good number, let me say, of the significant ones, do so because they are really shocked at what happened and what they are supposed to have been part of,
Yes.
which they knew nothing about. And a lot of them have told me that they are coming because whatever they think they can do, whatever we want them to do to help correct the past, they are ready to do. That is the main consideration. But of course, there are all sorts of other things. If you are looking at your political future,
Yes.
there's really no other game in town for now, at least.
For now. Let's talk a bit about your position as the chairman of the party. When will the APC hold its NEC meeting? There are allegations that you are pushing the dates of this NEC meeting because you are worried that your position is in jeopardy.
That is not the case. The issues are obvious. Firstly, to be honest, we did not have the resources. When promise of resources became available, we do not have our leader with us, Mr. President. So we had to balance this. Given the opinions out there,
Yes.
If we hold it without the president, problem. If we hold it with the acting president, problem. So we just decided, look, hold on, let's cool this stuff. We are glad Mr. President is mending, and mending very, very strongly.
Yes.
Also. And as soon as he's back, we will get on with it. It's not an elective convention. It's just a requirement of
I was reading the Deputy National Secretary, Timmy Frank, saying it was going to be
Please, point of correction, it's not Deputy National Secretary. He's in fact on suspension from the party.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not going to be an elective convention. The 6 vacant positions they're talking about that need to be filled, when will they be filled?
At congresses before the convention.
Okay.
Vacancies, there will be congresses in states that need them. In any case, in every local government, because they have to elect 3 delegates for the national convention.
Yes.
In the process, we'll fill whatever vacancies there are to be filled.
What does the NEC do? Who are the members of the NEC of the party?
Well, that's perhaps the highest organ that can act on behalf of the convention. And they are the true leaders of the party, yes.
Are the major leaders of the party still involved in the party? There are rumors out there that the former governor of Lagos State, Bola Tinubu, and former vice president, Atiku Abubakar, are giving a cold shoulder to the APC. Are they still deeply involved with the party?
I am not aware of cold shoulder.
Are they meeting up with their financial obligations to the party?
Yeah, they will, I'm sure. We have just put in place the process for collecting dues from every member. It's a very paltry sum, so that is neither here nor there. It's 100 naira per month to qualify as a member.
Is that a new thing, this payment of dues?
Yes, it is new. And it has taken us a bit of time because of the technical requirements to make sure that somebody in my village down in Edo State can go to a bank, or by just loading credit on his phone, can remit his 100 naira directly to the coffers of the party. It is new. I mean, we are moving away from a situation where you virtually pay members to attend meetings.
Yes, and of course not relying on public funds as well from the governors.
Precisely. Today we don't have an ATM kind of government. And the rule is clear. You are a member of a party, you have obligations to sustain the party, and we have made the opportunities available for him to do so easily and directly.
You've also said that the APC will not repeat the mistakes of the People's Democratic Party in 16 years. What mistakes are you talking about?
Well, firstly, they got too comfortable. Secondly, they reduced the electoral process to a mere sham, in which case they felt quite confident that they don't need the people, they don't need the votes, they control the machinery, they had the resources, so just get on with producing the figures. Thirdly, I think impunity became the order of the day. Fourthly, of course, the level of corruption became the only game in town. Some of them are reputed to have said that what money cannot take, any problem money cannot solve, more money will solve it. And that kind of talk. So they lost traction. They lost that connect that is required between them and the voters. They lost any sense of the little vision they had before. They just didn't care anymore about that great dream that any leader should have about where you want to take a people who have entrusted their future to you. In 10 years, in 5 years, what do you want to see in place? What do you want to be remembered for? So it was just a government that just shared resources and And that is a situation we cannot and must not degenerate into. There's no chance of that.
There's no chance of that. I will hold you to that.
Please do.
In 2019. 2018, next year, events will kick off towards the next presidential election. Is the APC sitting well?
We are ready. We're beginning to crank up the system, and hopefully things have started picking up. We know the people now understand. They are not still very happy because they are hungry, not because they think we created the problem, but they are hungry, and that is only fair and natural. But the results of the various measures we have put in place are beginning to manifest. This year particularly, there has been massive investment in infrastructure in the nation, various aspects of the national economy, transportation, agriculture, solid minerals, and the rest of it. And these are beginning to create some dividend. The major indices of national well-being have stabilized. Some have started to improve. Jobs are gradually beginning to be available. And when you add the social intervention programs that have now been put in place, yes, it doesn't solve the problem, but it's a very, very important new initiative. Things are beginning to take up. And in another year less, people will start seeing the railways, the reality of the railways. They took the President Buhari, I mean, it was almost from day one, he was committed to that project, got the funds, paid up all the counterpart funding that was required. The loans were already there by the Chinese. But like I said, the former government was so busy dividing our national patrimony that they didn't have time for irrelevant things like a new national railway system. All of that is underway. The construction, which is underway also, will generate quite a lot of income, a lot of employment in the economy. So things are going to gradually, incrementally begin to improve. And we are hoping that by the end of this year, the smiles will begin to show. We are not there yet, but it will begin to show on the faces of the generality of the population.
And you need those smiles to show, because going into Ekiti State, for instance, in the southwest zone, we will be having governorship elections there early 2018. What plans does the APC have to dislodge a very, very strong at the grassroots level governor, Ayodele Fayose?
One, we've done it in the case of Ondo. We've done it under very adverse conditions, where there was in fact major internal dissension within the party. So if we can do it under those circumstances, working the system, meeting the people, talking to the people, convincing them that a better future was available for them, I don't see why we cannot do it in Ekiti. Don't forget that the advantage we will even have in Ekiti is that those who truly control opinion are on our side. It's all right, it's good, of course, very good. Politicians do that. When you can go to the Buka, go to the motor park, interact and shout goza with the people, that's fine. But that is not the end of governance. And a lot of people see beyond that kind of facade. And to top it all, we have a lot of very capable aspirants for that office, highly qualified, highly experienced, and people have contributed immensely.
And people are worried about
Ekiti and elsewhere.
People are worried about the APC's ability to avoid imposition of candidates. A lot of people say that presidential primary in which President Buhari emerged was the finest hour of the APC. Will you be able to replicate that without rancor in all the other states?
We have replicated that. We have done it in Ondo. Ondo was clean and as pure as it can be. Yes, of course, there was a bit of rancor because one or two people were not happy with the outcome. But what is critical is that those who have the power to make and unmake saw that it was transparent, saw that it was clean, saw that it was a level playing field, and turned out massively to endorse that choice. I think no greater proof should you require than that. And we intend to continue, at least under my watch, to have truly free, truly fair primary, fully covered on real-time basis by the media.
And you hope to add more to the whole of 24 states that you have?
If it is the wish of the people, the answer is yes. We will work always for victory. And we pray that they consider the party worthy to be trusted.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for having us in your home and speaking with us today.
Thank you very much indeed.
And thank you for watching. I'm Angela Ajetomobi.